Hey folks, in this video we will see how we actually use Vibium for real browser automation through direct scripting and AI-powered control. In my previous lecture, I explained the architecture of Vibium in very simple terms. In this video, I will show you two powerful ways to control the browser using Vibium. In the first part, we will look at traditional scripting using Vibium, where we write JavaScript or TypeScript, which is very similar to tools like Selenium or Playwright. I would say mostly Playwright. Here, Vibium talks to the browser in a faster and more direct way in just few lines of code, which makes it more efficient than Selenium. In the second part, we will do something completely different. Instead of writing automation code, we will use an AI agent and give instructions in simple English language. We will use Claude Code as an LLM or AI tool which connects to Vibium through MCP server. The AI gives instructions, Vibium controls the browser and validate the results automatically. So let's get started and see how Vibium changes browser automation. First, let's understand how Vibium actually controls the browser through scripting. Before we write any code, let me clarify one important thing. Vibium setup is very simple. There is no server to configure, no browser driver to download, and no complicated environment setup like we do in Selenium. If you can run a small JavaScript file, you are already good to go. Right now, Vibium works with JavaScript and TypeScript. So all we need is Node.js installation. Let me take you to the official Vibium GitHub repository. To install Node.js and Vibium, refer this documentation. The steps are very simple and it is clearly documented. Just click on this Get Started tutorial. You can find the steps to install Node.js. It does not matter if you are using Windows, Mac OS or Linux. The steps are very similar and you can install the Node.js. Once Node.js is installed, npm comes automatically, and honestly that's enough to get started. For writing and running code, I would recommend to use Visual Studio Code or VS Code IDE, not because it is mandatory but because it works really well with Node.js and has great npm support and easy to learn as well. After installing Node.js, you can verify installation with just two commands. Go to terminal, click on these three dots, select this terminal, new terminal, and type it as node space hyphen version. If you see any version, but preferably the latest version, you're good to go. Also, you need to verify the npm. Just type it as npm hyphen verify. If you see the version, that's it. Your system is ready. Now, let's install Vibium and write our first script so you can see how Vibium talks to the browser and perform automation step by step. To create a project folder, first let me close this welcome screen. Go to File, click on Open Folder. Select your drive. Here I'm using C drive. I will go and create a folder called Vibium. I'm using JavaScript. Maybe I will use Python for another video. Here let's focus on JavaScript. Vibium JS project. This is my project root folder. I will select this. I will be writing all the JavaScript code and Vibium's code in this project. Let me close this welcome screen. To get started, all we need is package.json that comes when you are running the command through terminal. In this project directory, I will go to the terminal here again. Under this project root directory, I will type it as npm init space -y. This command will create package.json. You can refer this, the project name, version. Just assume that if you're coming from Selenium background, you can think of package.json like bound.xml. It helps us to manage and download all the required dependencies for Vibium. To install Vibium, it is very simple steps. What you need to do is in the same project folder terminal, run this command npm install Vibium. Make sure that everything in lowercase. This command will download the Vibium, download all the required dependencies, and also download Chrome for testing. Even if you have Chrome already installed, it will download the Chrome for testing browser. This may take a minute. Please bear with me. And once it's done, you see, it's already done. We are ready to start scripting. The next step is we just need to create one JavaScript file. You can also create TypeScript. That's totally fine. First, let me create file called demo.js. Go to your project root directory. Click on this icon to create new file demo.js. This is the JavaScript file I just created and just saved it. To start with, I'm using Vibium sync API. So the code reads top to bottom, just like Selenium. Vibium automatically handles waiting, so beginners can focus on learning automation, not JavaScript async complexity. First, we need to import the browser sync module from Vibium. In demo.js, just write it as const. This is the keyword. Start with open curly brace and close curly brace. Going to import the browser sync from Vibium. Type it as browser sync. Make sure you're correctly spell it. Required, I'm using GitHub Copilot, that's the reason it is giving auto suggestion, but Vibium is the very new tool. We need LLM models like Copilot or ChatGPT to understand the language first. It may take some time to give correct auto suggestion. For now, you cannot completely depending on AI tools like Copilot or ChatGPT. For now, what you can do is we are importing the browser sync from Vibium. So instead of browser sync here, just type it as Vibium. Now, browser sync allows us to control the browser step by step. Each action completes before the next one starts. To launch the browser, we are already imported the browser sync. Let me just comment it out saying launch the browser. To launch the browser, use the browser sync. There is a method called launch. Line of code will launch the browser. It is Chrome for testing browser locally for now. Instead of directly launching, what I will do, I will just go and create one variable. I will declare it as const driver. I'm just using one reference variable as a driver, which makes it easier for you to refer or think like I'm writing Selenium code. Const driver equals to browser sync launch. Then probably I will just print something like browser sync with a driver. Browser is launched. Write it in a console. It's a JavaScript way to print it. Next, once I open the browser, let me just go and open application. For this demonstration, I will be using Quality Adda. You can directly access this application through https://qualityadda.online. This is the employee management system application where user can log in, register, and perform all the employee and employer relationship, perform all the UI actions like selecting the radio button, enter the values into text field, click on a button, radio button, select the value from the drop down, and also the web table verification or assertion. Anything you can do it with this application. It's a real application, you can easily practice. And let me take this URL. What I need to do is, as soon as I open the browser, I will just go and launch the application, that is Quality Adda employee management system. To open the application, it is very simple. Again, I will be using the reference variable I created, driver.go. Go is the method here to launch the URL. Use go, open the bracket, and use single quote or double quote, it does not matter. Close with the semicolon. Just save this and go to your terminal. Type it as node space demo.js. That's it. You see that there is a browser is opened. The Quality Adda online website is launched. See how simple it is. We write only 2 lines of code. It is opening the browser and enter the URL. That is interesting, right? Let's see. Let's continue to explore what is available now. Okay, now here we are navigated to Quality Adda online web application. Now let's perform some additional task. Before that, let me explain how to close the browser. AI tools like Copilot, just give a comments that Copilot will clearly understand. It will give you auto suggestion very clearly. So let me close the browser, driver.quit. This method will actually close the browser. At a comment, browser closed. Let me save it and execute. You will see open the browser, enter the URL, close the browser. Something is happening as Vibium is very new and it is in testing phase. You can ignore this error message. What I will do, I will close this terminal and go and open the fresh terminal. Again run node space demo.js. It opens the browser and enter the URL and close it. That's it. But let's not conclude here. Let's try to understand what else is available in Vibium for now. After opening the application, I will just go and perform something. Like say for example, employee management system, there is a login. You need to click on this link. You see, there is a username field, password, and enter into this engineering lab. The username and password is a simple test. You need to first identify login and then identify the web elements of username and password, and also enter engineering lab. Once you click on this, you see login successful message and you can navigate to the dashboard. Click on this. So you are landed on the dashboard page. That's it. Let's do this. Focus on AI part. Now let me log out from this application and we need to identify how to click on this login link or button. I don't know, right? So here just right click on this website and inspect web element. Use this inspect icon. Click on login. One thing I need to clarify, Vibium do not support XPath directly because end of the day it needs to interact with AI tool. AI agents will not depend on XPath because the XPath will keep on change, right? So we will stick to CSS selector for now. To identify the login, the web element, you can refer this link. A is for link and I can find hrefs login. So let me write just in the browser Control F. What you can do is just type it as A. I'm writing the CSS selector and open square bracket href equals, and within the double quote what I will write, it is slash login. You can see that this login as the href and it is in lowercase. Let me just close this. And if you see this href login has two link available. I cannot completely depending on, but the CSS says this is the header and you can still access the login with the header. Okay, I will just start with the header in the CSS space. Now you can see that only one web element is identified with this CSS selector. I will select this CSS selector and go to Visual Studio Code. To click on this link, first we need to identify the web element, right? To get started, I will write driver.find. Find is the method to find the actual web element. Okay, open the bracket and close it. Use single quote. That's the reason I have used earlier double quote here, okay, so that it will not get confused. Okay, if you are using single quote here within the method, then use double quote in your CSS select. Okay, and I don't want to click directly from here because I will just go and create one variable. I might use the same link again and again. Okay, instead of directly click here, I will go and create one reference variable or variable declaring saying const login link equals driver.find, right? The same way we write driver.find element in Selenium, I'm just using this to store this web element. Now let's perform the action login link dot click. This is the method, and finally we'll just print something on the console saying clicked on the login link. Let me just save it and run this command, run this program through node demo.js. It will open the browser and it is actually clicked. Could not see that whether it is clicked or not. That is super fast, right? So let me just close this or comment this line of code. I don't want to close the browser for now. Let me just save it, run the program again. See that it opens the browser and you click on a login. It is that super fast. And now let me close this manually. Let's continue with the other steps. Once I click on the login, I want to take the screenshot, right? Generally we do that. Even Vibium supports that. Let's focus on how we can take the screenshot. We are not concentrating on framework part. We are just trying to understand how we can perform action, take the screenshot and so on. Maybe I will just add a comment saying take login page screenshot. Okay, it says login dot screenshot. It says login dot screenshot. Yes, that's correct, but we cannot directly add the login page dot png. Yes, it is right, it supports png. It cannot directly go and create the png file. First you need to import file system, and it is JavaScript approach to import the file script and then write that file with login page dot png. Okay, to do that, what I will do is I will go to demo.js and then I will import fs. Fs means file system. Const fs equals require. We are just importing from fs. That's it. Just save it. And now scroll down to create the screenshot. Add the screenshot to file system. Vibium returns screenshot as binary data, not a file, and we have a method called write file sync that saves the screenshot to the disk immediately. Okay, to write that it is simple. Fs dot, you see that there is a file write file sync. Okay, this is the method. You can create it with the png file. Okay, let me just open the bracket and within the double single quote I will say login dot png comma, and what is the image that you are going to store? Okay, let me just go and create one variable just saying const login page image. That's the image screenshot we have taken, right? Using this driver dot screenshot. Now let me add this binary data to disk immediately. Let me add this binary data and save the screenshot to disk using this file sync. Okay, just save it. Let me terminate this because it is still waiting for close the browser. Go to terminal, select this new terminal. And again, the same node space demo.js. And here you see that the login page is displayed. Let me just close it and let's see whether login.png is created or not. If you just see that there's a login.png is created in the same root project directory, click on this, you see that the screenshot is taken as expected. Let me close this and continue with the next step. And we understand that how to click on a link and take the screenshot. After you land on the login page, let's try to understand how to enter the credential. You need to type it, right? For that, again, first we need to identify the web element like username, password, and then you are actually click on that enter engineering lab button. Let's see how to first identify the web element and enter the credential. I will just add a comment saying enter credential. Okay, it will give some auto suggestion that you can ignore for now. Let me go to quality at the employee management system. I will use inspect element username text field. So this is the input. We need to identify the web element uniquely. Let me first type it. I know that this is the input field. There is a type called text. Okay, if I look at the password, the type is password. With this, only two fields available in this login screen. I will just go and differentiate with this type. Let me start with input type equals to text. Open the square bracket. Type equals text. Let me see if anything is identified. Yes, it is identified. And let me just use the double quote instead of single quote because we will be using single quote most of the time in our script in JavaScript. You can see that there is only one text field is appear. That's the reason you can use it. Or you can also differentiate that using form. This is the form field, right? Like you are entering the field. So just start with form input type equals to text. Just take this CSS and go to start with the driver, right? You are not first. Let's find the web element of username and password. To start with, I will say driver.find and open the bracket with the single quote. Just paste the CSS selector which we copied from the browser. And I don't want to type anything here. I will just close this and create a variable called user or username. Just say const username equals to this. Similarly, we will just go and identify the password field as well. Go and inspect web element and you know that type equals to password. That is the only change. Just replace with here. Make sure that you have only one web element identified and go to VS Code and create one more variable const password equals to you see that how smart the AI agents are. It is already giving auto suggestion with form input type equals to password. And now what I need to do, first I need to type saying user is test and password is also test. Okay, let me use this variable username and write something. My username is type with the single quote, or you can use double quote here as we are just entering. I say it is just test. It is not test user, it is just test. And for password as well, it is just a simple test. You can ignore the suggestion from the Copilot. After you enter the username and password, let's go and check whether it is actually enter the username and password or not. Okay, I will just terminate this. I'll kill this terminal and go to terminal again because we're not closing the browser. That's the reason we need to repeat it. Node demo.js and it is opening the browser. Enter the username and password. You can see that it identified the username and password and it entered in lighting first. So let me close this browser and close this terminal. And the next step is you need to click on this enter engineering lab button, right? So just inspect this. Look at the CSS selector. It is a button and the type is submit. Let me just go and check this. It is a button and type is submit, right? See that we have one CSS web element identified. Let me copy this and go to VS Code. Now again, I will just go and create one variable const login button or so the format. So it already given form button type equals to submit. I will be just using this variable to click, and click is the method, and just make sure that it is same like Selenium, and the submit login button is clicked. Let me just save it and go to terminal and run it. You see that username and password is entered and click on enter engineering lab. That's it, right? It is that simple. We write very few lines of code to achieve multiple actions like opening a browser, enter the URL, enter, go to login page, enter username and password and click on login button. Okay. And also we can close the browser, but before that, let me just save it and run this demo.js. You see that it enters the username and password and click on login button. And we can also close it and see how this Vibium works end to end. Let me just save it and run this demo.js. You see that in a fraction of a second, it entered the username and password and verified that the login is successful and it closed the browser. So this is how we can script and automate using Vibium. This is just a beginning. More features are coming in future releases. If you are from a Playwright background, you will quickly relate to how Vibium works. And if you are coming from Selenium, you will probably enjoy even this more. Just few lines of code, simple setup, and automatic synchronization while working with web elements. So far, we have seen Vibium scripting mode. We write JavaScript or TypeScript code. I will create another video for Python scripting once it is stable. Here, with this JavaScript code, Vibium listened to our code and browser did the actual work. That brings us end of this part. Let's move on to the part 2 of this video. Before we go further, I want to be very clear about one thing. AI is not replacing automation. It is only changing how we are giving instruction. Let me go to official Vibium GitHub repository. The browser automation is still done by Vibium. AI or agentic models help us to instruct Vibium what to do in a simpler and more natural way. For example, when we write Selenium or Playwright code, we are providing an instruction in script way, like click on this, type this, verify this. Now imagine instead of writing those instructions in code, we can say them in plain English through LLM and Vibium MCP protocol. Now let's see what is agentic or MCP approach. In the agentic approach, an AI agents give instruction to Vibium. The AI does not touch the code directly. Now you might hear a new term called MCP. MCP simply means a standard way for AI tools to talk to other tools. Assume we are just plugging Vibium and AI agents through Vibium MCP server, just like we plug our mobile phone and laptop through USB port. So the flow looks like AI agent talk to Vibium and Vibium perform the task. AI agent give the instruction to Vibium. Vibium executes it and browser respond. I hope you got the context here. Let me jump on to show how this works in real time. Let me give you a real example. Earlier, we used to write a Selenium or Playwright code to open a website. For example, we have done in Vibium as well. Just to go to quality at the web application, we have write this line of code to open a browser, open the quality at the website, click on login at the header and enter the username as test, password as test, and click on enter engineering lab or login button. And also we are just verifying the successful login. Now quality at dot online, click on login at the header, enter engineering lab. This is the plain English instruction. AI can understand. Vibium converts that instruction into browser actions and browser do their job. Let's see how to implement this practically. Please remember, as of today, Vibium does support interacting with Claude Code. Maybe in future we will see other LLM integration. To get started with Vibium MCP server, you need Claude Code installed in your system, in your operating system. Check if you have Claude installed in your system. So for example, if you go to official claude.com and you can install the Claude. If you're using Mac OS or Windows, you can just go and get the Claude Code. There is another way to install Claude Code in your IDE. Let me go to Visual Studio Code. Here on the same terminal project root folder, I will type it as Claude -version. to make sure that whether I have Claude or not. You can see that Claude is not recognized as the name of VM delete. That means Claude is not installed in my system. What I should do is, this project is JavaScript and we have very good support of npm. We also installed Node.js. Let me install Claude Code directly from Anthropic AI, because you know that Claude Code is from Anthropic. I will install through npm space install -g space @Anthropic. Make sure that you are correctly spelling, and -ai / Claude Code. Code. This command will actually install the Claude Code. You can now verify the Claude version. Let me repeat the same. Claude space -, version. It will give you the latest version of Claude, which is just installed. Now we need to install Claude MCP in our VS Code. Now we need to add Claude MCP, Claude Vibium MCP into our VS Code. Let me run this command. Claude MCP add space Vibium space -npx space Vibium. This command will actually download the Vibium and add the stdio MCP server, and now close this terminal and reopen. Let me go and reopen the terminal. Now you need to log in as Claude. You need to make sure that you should have account in Claude Code. Please make sure that this is not free tool. Claude Code is from Anthropic. It is one of the costliest and more effective AI agentic. So what I will do, I will just go and log into Claude Code, but as Claude login. So once you enter this command, this will ask me to proceed, because it will verify your account. There should be a browser open and you need to log in there. So I will just select this as proceed. That's it. I just logged in. There is the browser open. I just logged in with my username and password. I have the account with Claude Code, so I can use it now. I will instruct the LLM agent Claude Code to perform the same task in plain English. So for example, I will say open this website. Which website you need to clearly mention, right? I will go to Quality Adda and I will copy this URL, and now I will go to VS Code. I will say open the website. This is the website I want to say. Click on login at the header, because we have a two login link, right, or button. It will not understand, so I need to clearly mention that there is a login at the header. Enter the username as test, or maybe I will just give in single quote so that it will understand it is the valid username. Password as test. Also, after entering the username and password, I need to click on enter engineering lab. Maybe if you go and see this once you click on this login, there is a username and there is a password and enter engineering lab, and there is no submit button or login button. I need to clearly mention this is engineering lab. I will just say enter engineering lab and verify the successful login message. Okay, this is the task. I just instruct AI in plain English and then I will click on enter. So what it will do, it will initially try to understand your system. It may ask you to provide permission to click, type, launch the browser and navigate to URL as well. So I will just select yes, or maybe I don't want to ask Vibium again and again to launch the browser. So I will say yes and don't ask again for Vibium. Even though you have given the permission, but still your Claude Code will ask you to give the permission for certain cases. So far we have given instruction to launch the browser. So what it is internally doing, you can see that it is still asking whether you want to proceed further. Yes, I want to proceed further. Browser navigation step, it is asking for the permission. So I will give that permission and I don't want to ask again. You see that there is a browser test or Chrome for testing is already open with this URL. Okay, that is what we have instructed Claude Code, right? That is the awesome part of Claude Code and Vibium MCP server. It will do trial and error method. You can see that there is the screenshot. It actually taken the screenshot. Claude Code as an AI agent, it will first try with all trial and error method to find this login. Once it is identified, it will take the screenshot and also document, and then it will proceed. For now, it is asking me to allow reading Vibium during this session. It is asking to give the permission, I will just say yes, allow reading from IBM during this session. I'm just giving instruction and permission. You can also see so much of tokens in AI in agentic model, and you need to pay for it. Do you want to proceed? Yes. Don't ask again for IBM browser click. You can click it. I'm just giving a permission to click. On behalf of me, IBM server is performing an action in open browser in my system. What it is actually doing, IBM is getting the control, but Claude Code is giving the instruction to IBM to perform the task. See, it is saying clicking on logging button. It is trying. It is actually trying so much. You see that 1.5 thousand tokens are consumed, and it is still thinking. It is not able to find the login button. So sometimes you can just give the hint to the Claude Code. Okay, so for example, I will just give escape and I will just abort. It tried, see that browser click. It is keep on trying with a href login, a contains login. It is not able to find that in my tokens. I will just give an instruction saying refer this CSS selector to refer this CSS selector to identify the login button or login link. Now we have given instructions, right? Cloud Code will understand that this is the exact, and it will acknowledge, and then it will continue with the next step. The next step is enter the username as test and password as test. Now you can see that it actually clicked on the login. Earlier it was not, and now it click on the login. And now it is looking for the username and password and engineering tab. You can see that 808 tokens were consumed. The good part is it actually find the username and password with this CSS selector, and it is trying to identify the enter engineering lab, and it is asking me to give the permission. So I will say just go and continue with this automation. You will understand that how much money is going behind the scene. Okay, it is able to click on, but it is still trying to do something else because it was not successful. It did not get the successful message. So we have already spent 2 minutes 37 seconds and spend lot of token for each action, but still Cloud Code is not communicating to IBM properly and understand this application. Cloud Code is successfully sent instruction to IBM and identified the enter engineering lab. That's what I sent. Login successful message is returned. If you go to this location, you will actually see that Cloud Code is perform the successful login and it captured the screenshot. Okay, we have successfully completed this task, and user navigated to this. Click on this, enter username and password as test, click on enter engineering lab and verify successful message. That's what we sent, right? And it completely depends on application. Once the agentic model or agent understand your project and application structure and technology, it can easily go and identify all possible the web elements, and it will store in the memory. It also document in the backend. I will show in another video with a detailed Cloud Code and Vibium MCP server, so that you will understand. As of today, Vibium does support only Cloud Code, and Cloud Code is not free tool. You need to subscribe, and it is one of the costliest LLM model available in the market. That's it for this video. I hope you understand what is YBM and how you can automate certain tasks through scripting, how to ask AI tool to perform some tasks using YBM MCP server. Thank you for watching, and do subscribe for more updates on YBM and other automation related topics. Thank you.